This is my living room.
Oh, nice.
This is my kitchen.
You'll never use it.
Hey, I can cook a little bit.
Well,
God, again, I keep getting these weird text messages.
So you feeling okay out there?
Your life slips away from you, you know? Changing your phone number and your email becomes normal. Taking out a restraining order, normal. Relocating to another city, normal.
I decided that I needed to go visit Jasmine. So I drive 14 hours and I stop for 4 hours in her hometown. I want to be with Jasmine. I just don't want to have this subliminal love anymore. It is so exhausting. My brain is fried. I need to meet her face to face.
So she drove, what, 14 hours?
Yes.
She sends a message to Jasmine and says, I'm here if you want to meet me.
Correct.
And Jasmine's like, no.
It's a thin line between normal and abusive, but the loved one feels unsafe in common situations of everyday life, and the hunter should just stop the chase. This is your host Amelia, and today we dive into the dark realm of stalkers. The phenomenon of stalking occurs where love meets pathology. Widely popularized by movies and suspense books, the concept of stalking requires a rather complex approach. Of course, a stalker will harass innocent people, will grant an unwanted but persistent attention, and sometimes will try to contact their victim, only to cause more repulsion, fear, and disgust. Above everything else, a stalker's lifestyle is flawed by the obsession that represents the center of their concerns. Stalking behavior includes at least some of the following elements. Collecting media files that depict the victim, photo, audio, or video, which belong to the victim or not. Daydreams, in which the stalker and their victim appear in various roles and situations, either innocuous or, on the contrary, downright abusive. The stalker may have a sanctuary dedicated to their passion, where they may collect objects, photos, or other types of material connected with their obsession. Writing love letters or threat letters are letters that include both love and threat, and which have an unpleasant or even terrifying impact on the receiver. Waiting at the victim's workplace, home, or neighborhood. persistent phone calls, text messages, emails, letters or notes. The sending of gifts, from the seemingly romantic flowers or chocolate to the bizarre breaking into the victim's home or car in order to install surveillance devices, or just for stealing victims' personal objects that are invested with great significance by the stalker, journal, lingerie, etc. Gathering information on the victim, contacting people who know the victim, searching public or personal records, even the dustbin, for information. Surveillance, persistently watching, spying on the individual, using cameras, audio equipment, phone tapping, or bugging the victim's home or workplace. An unexpected confrontation with the victim that usually evokes a great deal of fear, repulsion, and disgust on the victim's part. Manipulative behavior. Threatening to commit suicide in order to coerce the victim to intervene, forcing contact with the stalker. Defamation of character. The stalker will lie to others about the victim, trying to limit their options and weaken their support network, in an attempt to isolate the victim, making them appear more vulnerable, and giving the stalker a sense of power and control. Objectification. The stalker derogates the victim, thus reducing them to an object, which allows the stalker feel they are entitled to behave as they please toward the victim. Viewing her, him as lesser, weak, or otherwise seriously flawed can support delusions that the victim needs to be rescued or punished by the stalker. Threats and verbal violence. The stalker uses threats to frighten the victim. Vandalism and property damage, usually to the victim's car. Physical attacks that leave abrasions and bruises, mostly meant to frighten. Less common, physical attacks that leave serious physical injuries, or sexual assaults. To a certain degree, stalking behaviors could be common and even practiced by normal people. For instance, among lovers' mating rituals, the persistence in courtship is expected and seen as a measure of love and strong character, while obsession, a special attention, and nuptial gifts represent common behaviors in a lover's courtship repertoire. Therefore, defining what exactly is normal and accepted and what is not can prove to be a bit of a challenge. Nevertheless, the victim's reaction of disgust towards stalker's persistence represents the key factor in telling right from wrong and normal from abusive. You know you are dealing with a stalker if their deeds evoke a sense of dread and unsafety in their victim. Is this ever going to turn into real love? Pretty hard to believe. The experts have identified the following types of stalkers. The outcast, or the rejected stalking type, is an individual who has experienced the unwanted end of a close relationship, most likely with a romantic partner, but also with a parent, work associate, or acquaintance. When this stalker's attempts to reconcile fail, they frequently seek revenge. The romantic, also called the intimacy seeker, identifies a person, often a complete stranger, as their true love and begins to behave as if they are in a relationship with that person. Many intimacy-seeking stalkers carry the delusion that their love is reciprocated. The incompetent subtype, like the intimacy seeker, hopes their behavior would lead to a close relationship, satisfying their need for contact and intimacy. However, this type of stalker acknowledges that their victim is not reciprocating their affection while they still continue their pursuit. These stalkers are intellectually limited and socially awkward. Given their inability to comprehend and carry out socially normal and accepted courting rituals, the incompetent stalker uses methods that are often counterproductive and frightening. The vigilante, the resentful stalker, experiences feelings of injustice and desires revenge against their victim rather than a relationship. Their behavior reflects their perception that they have been humiliated and treated unfairly, viewing themselves as the victim. The focus on a distressing past and the compulsive reliving of this pain can contribute to a mood disorder. The hunter, also known as the predator stalker, has no desire for a relationship with their victims but a sense of power and control. They find pleasure in gathering information about their victim and fantasizing about assaulting them physically, and most frequently sexually. The big problem is that all the stalkers are experts in making excuses. They rationalize the situations, find out excuses, or even play the victim, which feeds this behavior. What's more, if they get into group therapy, they will almost certainly use this environment to make an exchange of resources and methods. This means an individual therapeutic approach is a must. After all, stalkers should be regarded as vulnerable people that have to face major challenges and need professional help for social insertion, for developing social skills and improving their empathy. Last but not least, they need to develop skills for effectively managing their emotions, given the fact that they often seem to be frozen in time, and have a hard time forgiving or accepting things they cannot change.